Brandt, how are you? Thank you so much for being here.
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you again. This is just a quick little snippets of brilliance that we're asking for from you. So if you don't mind, give us a few seconds to remind everybody who you are and what you do, as if people on this don't know, but go ahead.
It's entirely possible. There's a lot of people in the world I don't know. Hi, my name's Brandt. I am a technical producer and consultant and educator based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've been in this here industry for about 20 years now, and that's kind of hard to believe. Mainly working on the technical side, so that definitely the technical production side. And so this last year has been pretty busy with basically the entire meetings and events industry being forced to go online.
Yeah, trying to figure out what to do and how to do it.
Yeah,
That's a perfect spot for you to be. How did you get started?
That is a great question. And I hate it when people answer a question starting with "that's a great question," but I wasn't expecting it, so I definitely just used that. I definitely just used that crutch. So I right out of school, I had a theater training, and right out of school, I got a job with a theatrical rental house. We rented lights and curtains and things like that for mainly theaters. But there was this crazy old hippie guy who would come in and rent uplights and occasionally like some ellipsoidal spots and things like that from us. And turns out he did sound and lights for small corporate events. And when I got asked to leave that job, I took one name out of the Rolodex, and that was him, because he was just this fun, crazy old guy. And so I started working for him for a couple of years, doing sound and lights for small corporate events. And then I got pickpocketed away from him by a corporate event planning company here in Minneapolis, where I worked for the next 18 years.
Wow. You know, I have yet to talk to anybody that actually got into this industry on purpose.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? We're all like theater people and ex-marketing people and florists, and we just all kind of
related but not related.
I think that's part of why it's so fun in this industry.
Well, with as many of the experts as you get to talk to on a daily basis, what do you think we're looking at over the next 6 months, short term, as far as events go?
I was literally just writing something about that because it's what a lot of people are speculating on right now. I think this thing's going to have a long tail. Anybody who thinks that it's just going to be okay after this date, it's all golden, is kidding themselves. And so you might as well not try. So don't try and wring your hands and, is it going to be open up after July? Is it going to open up after August? Because it's going to have a long tail, and it's going to make a huge difference whether you're, whether it's a country or a county or a city. They're going to continue to have lockdowns and regulations and rules regarding the size of events and whether or not you can have events. And then from there, you're going to have individual organizations having their own rules and regulations about who can go to events and how big of an event can you go to, and their own protocols. And then just us as individuals, we're going to have our own individual, I'm just not ready for that yet. And so this thing's going to have a long tail deep into 2021 and into 2022, where it's just going to continue to be messy. And so rather than, again, wringing our hands and wondering, we just need to make decisions and say we're going to go ahead with online, or we're going to go ahead with a hybrid, or we're going to go, all in or bust on in person. But make those decisions, make them now, because every day that you're spending wringing your hands wondering what's going to happen is a day lost on the planning process. So that's what I'm really telling folks.
When do you have your first in-person meeting planned, or do you?
I don't have any on the books yet.
Nothing on the books.
I've got one of my previous clients that I worked with, in 2019 and earlier. They went online last year, did not have a good experience, and decided they were going to be one of these ones that were in person or bust. Now, that was a couple months ago that I talked to them about that. I struggle with that because it's in June, and I just don't think we're going to be ready for that. Even still in June, with as well as, things are opening up, that's still just taking a huge chance. And so I've strongly encouraged them to go hybrid, but we'll see if they take the advice.
A little group in person and a big group virtually.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that a lot. And so,
Mhm.
the other half of what I'm trying to remind folks is, we learned a lot in this last year. And we've opened up our events to audiences globally and to people who wouldn't be able to normally make it, either through financial or through disabilities, to our in-person events. Are we going to now just throw those audiences away as we go back to in-person events? I'm really encouraging people to just flip their script a little bit. And so instead of talking about going back to in-person events, now let's reincorporate in-person events. So let's take what we've been doing for the last 10 months to a year, take what we've learned, and now try and bring back in an in-person audience as opposed to going back. What I fear is that a lot of folks are just going to go back to hybrid being, I'm going to stick a camera in the back and call it good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that, though, reincorporating the live event. So if you had one thing that you would tell or want planners to consider while planning for the next, let's go 6 months to a year, what would that one thing be?
The folks that have done well over the course of this last year were the ones that were out front. And so it all kind of ties back into this, stop wringing the hands, let's just be decisive, I think, is probably the biggest thing. And then, put your weight behind whatever it is that you decide on. And so that combined with this idea of reincorporating the in-person, because they are going to be small at first. And chances are your online audience is going to be larger than your in-person audience. And so really acknowledging that and talking with your speakers and your presenters and saying, okay, I know there's people in the room, but there's your main audience right there. And that's you need to be talking to the camera, not doing the pacey back and forth across the stage, because we're all going to get seasick at home watching this camera pan back and forth. So really redesigning your events over the course of these next 6 months to acknowledge, where is your larger audience? Where is the primary audience for this event? And not just defaulting to the idea that the in-person audience is the primary viewership of your event.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it, actually. It's really good. I can wrap it up now and say, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time yet again. Love working with you and seeing you. Anything else you want to add, just because we're recording?
It's my absolute pleasure to be here. What I've been also trying to spread out there is just a little positivity. One of the things that I'm worried about, and I'm just seeing little red flags here and there, is as people quite naturally, anytime you've lost something, there's a desire to try and get it back. And so a lot of people have lost a lot of business and a lot of money and friends and family over the course of this last year. And there's going to be a natural, almost subconscious desire to get it back. We got to do even better. We got to do even more events. We got to do bigger events. We got to make even more money. And I just worry that there's been a lot of coming together over the course of this last year in our industry of people sharing ideas and sharing information. So I'm really encouraging people to try and just keep that in mind. Don't be so into the idea of trying to get back what was lost that we lose what we've gained, which is coming together as an industry like we've never seen before in any of the 4 or 5 once in a lifetime industry changing events that I've had now in my career. Stay together, keep sharing information, keep bringing each other up. This whole idea of rising tides lift all boats. And let's come out of this thing like we went into it, which is together.